will save the earth.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Sunday Q&A stream. I'm going to bring up our special guest here. We have Kat, Keto Crazy Kat, and here we go. Welcome to the stream, Kat.
Hey, how you doing today, Bryce?
Pretty good. Hey everybody, I want you to meet KetoKrazyKatLady. She's over on Instagram. She's also Keto Cat or Cat Keto over on Facebook, and she's got the KetoKrazyKatLady channel on YouTube, which she's got to start uploading some stuff. You like repurpose your Instagram stuff for YouTube and vice versa. And I want to welcome everybody into the stream. So far, we've got Todd Rittle. We've got Vengeance over there moderating the channel, and then we're gonna have he's over on the YouTube side, and we'll probably have some other guests over on the Twitch side as well. And I wanted to thank all of you for joining us. We're going to attempt to do some Q&A. So any of you guys who have any questions for either Kat or myself regarding the ketogenic lifestyle, regarding cooking, because that's going to be one of our big topics today, because our guest today, Kat, is a professional cook. And she does some professional catering, freelance catering, and she also does a lot of videos cooking with keto ingredients. So you will find that some of her things, if you ever like watch one of her live streams on Facebook where she's doing these crazy recipes, like home cooking recipes and crazy stuff, you will love this stuff. You will wish that you were keto when you started out. Hey, how's the gadget girl going on? Thank you for following me over there on Instagram too. I think that was Instagram that gave me the notification. So Kat, you can see the chat on your side, right?
I just see me on screen. I'm not seeing anything else pop up.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if you had another computer nearby where you had the channel up where you could see.
I'm trying on my phone.
That's fine.
I'm so tech savvy.
Let's talk.
Okay.
So, I know we've touched base a little bit on this, but people are going to want to know who you are and what got you into keto. And I know that there's like a certain boundary of what we can and can't talk about. That's fine. But I want to know, what I want to know is your story in it, you know, a basic gist of, you know, how you ended up stumbling across it, and then what made you really want to like go for it.
Yeah, well, I originally, the way that the keto came into my life is I had a friend with an illness that some research was done, and it was found that the ketogenic way of eating could possibly help with that illness. And so in support, a bunch of us went on it together to support her. And I'm the cook. I'm the one that isn't afraid to try new things and things like that. So I just took on making the majority of her meals and having to convert them to be ketogenic friendly. And I'd never used some of these ingredients ever before. My baking was always lots of flour and sugar and all that stuff that just poisons our bodies. So I just jumped in. I just said, hey, I'm going for it. The first thing I ever made was a cinnamon muffin with almond flour and cream cheese frosting. And I was eating this thing saying, how can this be so good and be good for me? Because we've all been taught over the years that diet food is gross, it's yucky, we're depriving ourselves. So I was super surprised, and I just kept going with it. And as a result, I mean, I had been battling with my weight for years. as a result, all of a sudden I'm losing weight, and I'm like, what is going on? I was eating butter and cream cheese and all these luscious, yummy things, heavy whipping cream, and one by one, the pounds, they just literally, they dropped away. I stayed on that for a couple of years, and then about 3 years ago, I was involved in a serious car accident, and I was hurting pretty badly, and it was a lot for me to get up and to the stove and start making all this stuff. So I fell back into that delivery drive-through madness that got me to where I was in the first place. So this past summer, I just got sick of it. I had lost 75 pounds initially, and I regained 40 of those pounds. And I just looked at myself in the mirror and I cried. And I said, I can't do this again. I cannot put my body through this. And I slowly started back. I have been back solid on keto since November of last year. Down 42 pounds. So I lost that, and I'm going and heading to my next goal. But I've met some amazing people along the way. You know, we have our group, my colorful keto buddy, Dory. I met Dory. She brought me on to be her admin, and, you know, the rest is history. I'm here today. I'm healthier than I was. I had issues with blood pressure and sleep apnea, and those all disappeared. I feel better. I have more energy. I still have issues from my wreck, but I just say, hey, you know, I'm not gonna punish myself anymore. I'm going to love myself and treat myself better, and that's what I'm doing with this way of eating. And if I get to help somebody along the way, even better.
Nice. That's the perfect keto story, if you ask me. You know, it's like we didn't start this whole journey perfect, and you know, it's almost like a relationship, right? Like
it is.
Like when I started dating my wife, it was definitely not for the right reasons, and we, you know, we didn't start out that whole thing right. But you know what? We built something really solid, and we've been married for 12 years. So,
absolutely.
Vengeance says the live video is better. And hi, Vicky Chitwood. Vicky, I hope you got your book. I sent that off Monday. And we are going to be doing a book giveaway here in just a little bit. We are looking at maybe like, I don't know, around 20 minutes before we're going to give away a book. And so I do need to like start hitting the thrift stores again to try to find some more awesome books for you guys. But thank you very much for engaging with the book giveaways. It's pretty fun. As some of you know, I used to really suffer massively from chronic pain. I was like the poster child for medical marijuana, and I have a very long list of repetitive stress injuries and stupid kid injuries and freestyle BMXing and skateboarding and breakdancing and all the things that we disastrously did to ourselves as children came back to haunt me. But my belief now, like I used to think that, you break down as you get older, right? That's what I have always heard, and that's what I have always thought. And, I always wondered when I was a kid, like, what is a backache? Like my mom and dad, oh, my back hurts, or I have a headache, or all these things. But then in middle school, like I started getting chronic migraines because I had a terrible accident in the playground. And then later on, I had broken my wrist. I was very accident prone as a child, and I broke a lot of stuff. And but my opinion now has been like that inflammation came to a head around 2009, 2010, and I literally had so much pain that I couldn't work anymore. And I ended up quitting my job at the post office of 17 years and just took on freelance videography, which was basically part-time work that pays really well, very part-time work, but it pays really well. And I took that on, and I made some amount of money freelance doing that, but I didn't have to be like on my feet all day. And at that time I weighed like 285 pounds, and I was suffering terribly. I at times walked with two canes. I wore night splints on my hands and my feet, and I still to this day I wear hard insoles in my shoes. But if I don't, my feet aren't totally killing me anymore because I don't have the inflammation exacerbating all those problems. That is what I believe gets accumulative over time. I believe that we are supposed to heal from our wounds, and then we're supposed to be able to move on for the most part with our lives. And if it's possible to say that I am aging backward at this point, I feel like I'm aging backward. It's the weirdest thing. That gadget girl says, oh, Vengeance says you talk about how you made keto lattes. What exactly is that? Okay, so I'll give you an example. This is my bacon latte. So, some people they just call it bulletproof coffee, and that bulletproof is actually a brand. So I don't know why everybody just continues to call it bulletproof coffee, but it's fatty coffee basically. And in my case, I am using a tablespoon of bacon grease, a tablespoon of coconut oil, 2 tablespoons of heavy whipping cream, a couple of packets of Truvia. Some people say that sweeteners break your fast. I think it depends on the person, maybe. For me, it does not. And I think that for the flavor, I also add a little bit of salt to bring that bacon flavor right to the forefront. And if you like, you can blend it, or you can be lazy like me and just get a coffee cup that seals really well so that you can shake it and not have it spray all over God's green earth. But I'm like super lazy. I'm not wanting to like clean a blender every day, but it is really awesome if you blend it. It's really awesome. But so that's basically keto lattes for me, and it does not require any special equipment, but that's what it is. So that gadget girl says, I'm desperately trying to get back on keto. I started November 2016 and was down 65 pounds by June 2017. It was the first time in a long time where lupus was well under control. Work stress and personal losses, I got distracted and gave up and undid any good strides I made. Now I am full of inflammation and moods up and down that I know I must get back on track. So, there is a whole lot that is not known about lupus. Lupus is one of those diseases that is a mysterious thief in the night, and it just steals from you. And like many autoimmune disorders, could be Takayasu's arteritis, which most people have only heard of on House MD. But I have a close personal friend who may be watching this right now who suffers from Takayasu's, and I'm going to tell you, it's one of those thief in the night kind of things. It just steals from you. And one thing that we do know that's generally true about virtually every autoimmune disorder is that they are triggered by inflammation. And while you may never be free or cured of lupus or Takayasu's or Hashimoto's or any number of these mysterious autoimmune disorders, one thing that we know that is not so mysterious is that virtually every autoimmune disorder is triggered by inflammation. Now, if you can decrease your inflammation or reduce it to infinitely almost nothingness, then it's very possible that in most cases you could eliminate your symptoms. The manifestation of those autoimmune disorders could be gone. In some cases, in many cases. And so my hope for you is that you find a way to approach this in a really realistic way, Gadget Girl, that is attainable and sustainable for you. Don't rely on products. Rely on foods that you find in the store every day. Keep it simple, stupid. That's what people always tell me. Keep it simple, stupid.
Absolutely. And don't beat yourself up either. That's one of the things that we tend to do. We fall off the wagon, we make a mistake, and then we just endlessly just berate ourselves. Don't do that, because it happens. We're human. It's what's done is done. So let's, just one foot in front of the other, move forward. And food and nutrition absolutely is healing to the body if you are eating the correct things. Our bodies have the innate ability to heal themselves. They just need the proper tools.
That's why I say let food be thy medicine. And I think that one thing that, I don't mean to cut you off, but
No.
I'm going to let you go on like a tangent here, because one thing that I've liked about watching your videos on Facebook is you make these home cooked meals that they don't seem complicated. They seem like something that you don't like. You watch these little kids on MasterChef Junior, and you're like, this kid is 9 years old. This kid is 9 years old, and he's doing something that I will never, ever learn how to do, right? I am not ever going to be able to do what that 9-year-old kid just did with a pasta roller and a cast iron skillet and a razor blade. I have no idea what he just did with that syringe. And then you, on the other hand, are creating this medicine of home cooked food that is completely attainable.
Absolutely. Food doesn't have to be complicated. Recipes don't have to be daunting. The simplest is always the best. And what we look for so many times with our eating patterns is we want that comfort, we want that unctuousness, we want that anything that's not a salad. Not that salad's bad. I love a good salad, but we want that decadent, ooey gooey, cheesy something. And that's what I try to do, is to just show people it doesn't have to be complicated. If you just go slow, take it one step at a time, have fun while you're doing it, laugh at your mess ups, and just keep going with it. It doesn't have to be complicated, and that's another problem that we do to ourselves. We overcomplicate, overthink everything, and we don't need to do that. Just baby steps, a little bit at a time. Next thing you know, it's all going to be like boom. When I started back on my way of eating over the summer last year, I was adding in fats that I had not been eating on the version of keto, I lost my mind there for a minute, that I started on, which was a much more restrictive version. So all of a sudden there were all these cheeses and fats that I couldn't eat before. And it took me a few months to really find my proper balance. And from there, I decided to dig in and recreate meals that people love and are missing. And I challenge people every week. Throw something at me. I'm going to find a way to do it, no matter what it is. I'm going to make it one way or another. I'm going to make it. And so far, so good. And people seem to love it. So, yeah. So
you're taking these recipe challenges, so you guys, I'm inviting you, and Kat may look at this as usurping authority, but I'm going to just go ahead and usurp authority. But I'm challenging you guys right here in this stream. If you're watching this either on the replay or whatever, I'm challenging you, and I will get notifications. Even if Kat doesn't look, again, I will get notifications if you guys put this in the comments, and I will relay these to her. So the gauntlet has been laid down. And if any of you guys have a challenge for some kind of home cooked meal or some kind of dessert or some kind of thing, you have to remember that Kat she does a catering business on the side. And so you guys need to know that she is down for whatever when it comes to keto. If you guys are looking to find a way to make that one thing, that one comfort food, I don't mean to say it, but Kat's your man. You guys,
I'm the cat's meow.
So I have a question for you now. I know that this was a challenge for you, but the first video that I saw of yours was the tuna casserole video.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So, which was fairly recent, but outside of someone just challenging you for it, what was your motivation and your inspiration for making a tuna casserole, like a classic comfort food? And it just, like, for me, that's what I connected with instantly, because that was like in our house, that was like at least like once every couple weeks it was tuna
Right.
casserole night. But and our tuna casserole in our house is like this glorious thing, and what you made, it seems to be pretty much what we had. Now, what was your inspiration? What was your motivation?
Well, again, it was a challenge. Somebody had challenged me tuna noodle casserole, and I think the biggest thing is we can do all the tuna, we can do the cheese, but the noodles are the thing that people miss the most, or
Yes.
want. They want that substance, because how can you have tuna noodle casserole with no noodles? And I started looking online, and I saw that there really wasn't anything out there. Anybody wanting something like that, they were told, "Oh, just leave the noodles out." No, you can't. It's a tuna noodle casserole, dudes. You have to have the noodles. So that was my starting point. I looked around to see what I could see, and tested out a few different recipes, and I finally found something, and it worked. It really worked. They weren't like your pasta noodles, but they definitely had that great substance, and they cooked up so well. They were perfect. And that's the thing, with comfort food, we're looking for that all the time. And I wanted to make it delicious and be able to eat it and still think I was getting the decadent goodies that we always pine for. And it worked. And it's just, I'm motivated to help people in that way, to show them that this doesn't have to be bland and boring. It can be fun, delicious,
Because some people
simple.
are just like, what the hell do I eat? I'm tired of bacon and eggs. If I look at one more dish of bacon and eggs, and I hear that so often, it's like, I cannot eat another piece of bacon. I cannot eat another fried egg. And it's like, for me personally, I can't relate. I could eat bacon and eggs for years on end, but I hear this all the time, right? It's, if I have to eat one more cheese stick, if I have to just one more cheese stick, one more bacon and eggs, I'm tired of, like, what do I do? I'm going to go to the restaurant, and I'm just going to order bacon and eggs. And you know what sucks about that? You can't even go to the restaurant and order bacon and eggs, because you have to order fresh cracked eggs for one, and you can't eat, like, half the restaurants, they cook their bacon, they roll it in flour before they put it on the skillet, because they don't want it to shrink. So you're still getting bacon, but you're getting it rolled in flour almost 80% of the time. And then, like, if you order an omelet or scrambled eggs, their scrambled eggs and their omelets have their pancake batter in it most of the time. Look at, like, the IHOP menu. It actually says that right on it, pancake batter. You have to ask for cracked eggs in these joints. So it's like, you can't even win doing that. Like, if you're too lazy to even fry your own bacon and eggs, you can't even, like, go to a restaurant and trust that they're gonna. So home cooking is like the only answer, and so having something other than, like I said, cheese sticks and bacon and eggs to eat all day long is important. If you really, like, value, I've heard some people, even keto gurus say, food is just fuel, right? They've got the whole Soylent Green attitude about food, right? Food is just sustenance. It's just fuel. It's just a tool to get you to, to have fuel to burn through the rest of your day. But you know what? For many of us, food can just be enjoyable. We love to be fueled by the thing that we get to enjoy. Now, if you could sit in front of a beautifully charred ribeye steak and just say, that's just fuel. I don't enjoy it. I'm just going to consume these calories for fuel. Well, you might as well just have a brick of Soylent Green. Some of you may not get the reference, but there actually is a product now called Soylent, which is this guy who just doesn't want to bother with being bothered with the whole idea of food. And I don't understand it, but I do understand that I can't relate, but there are people that this is their school of thought. And I think that Kat shares my viewpoint that food for many of us is something that can heal us and that we can enjoy as well.
And it brings you back home. It's comfortable. It's warm. It should love you like you love it. And, that's what I'm trying to do. I grew up and we grew most of our own fruits and vegetables. So I was very blessed in that way growing up, that I always had fresh. But it really helped me to appreciate how good it is. Because when I got out on my own and, I went to the store and I'm like, oh, I'll just get a can of peas and a can of this. Ugh. Oh, no. It's just so bad for you. There's so many preservatives that are in there. You don't even know how long that can of mushy peas has been sitting in a warehouse somewhere. And the longer that these foods sit, the more the nutrients just bleed out of them. So fresh is always best to get all the good stuff. And yeah, it doesn't have to be just for fuel. Have fun with your food. Look, if you don't want bacon and eggs, great. I don't like a lot of eggs. I'll eat an omelet, but like fried eggs or hard-boiled eggs, that's just not my bag. And I also, although salt is important, I don't like too much. So I won't eat a whole pound of bacon. That's just too much salt for me. So I'll go ahead and I'll make you some blueberry pancakes, and they'll be keto and lovely. I just make a little maple syrup on the top. I melt some butter, a couple drops of some maple flavored extract. Bam. That's what I'm talking about. And that's just one thing. There's so many other things that we can do. Thanksgiving last year, I made my Thanksgiving meal completely keto. I roasted my turkey breast. I made a keto bread and sausage stuffing. I did a cauliflower mash. I did a lovely pumpkin cheesecake pie for dessert, keto crust, the whole bit. I didn't miss a thing. It was the best. And I make gravy too.
I make pumpkin cheesecake now, and my cheesecake recipe is to die for. I have killed cheesecake for the last few years.
Right.
I'm going to cut away for a brief moment, and we're going to do a book giveaway. So I have 3 books here that I'm ready to give away. So if any of you would like one of these books, just say right there in the chat. You can even say over on Facebook even that you are interested in the book. All you have to do is say that you're interested in the book, and then let me know which book, and then you can private message me your contact information. The first person to respond to this will get the book of their choice out of these, and I will ship it to you if you're in the continental United States. Now, if you're anywhere else in the world, you can also get the book, but you have to come to me. So I will ship it to my front door free of charge if you are somewhere else in the world, as long as you will fly to my country and fly to me here, and I will deliver it to my front door, where you will get the book absolutely free of charge, except for your airfare and hotel stay and your Anyway, so with that being said, for continental U.S. or for any U.S. Citizen here, visitor, whatever, if you have a U.S. address, I will mail it via postal media mail, which is the slow boat Pony Express. And you just need to make sure that you tip the pony. So we have Dr. Atkins carbohydrate gram counter. And I'm going to, because it's interesting, I'm going to read the dates in these. This is a 2002 edition of Yeah, this is a 2002 edition of Dr. Atkins Carbohydrate Counter. Now, some people may say that this is outdated information, but the thing is that some of these are for nostalgia purposes as much as anything else. But this one was before a lot of refined products came out, so this will tell you a lot more about the kind of raw ingredients that you normally get in the store. But it does have some kind of fast food stuff in here as well. This is a little pocket edition. You can get that free of charge. I also have one more carbohydrate, one more count book thing. This is the complete book of food counts by Corinne Netzer. And the date on this one this is the 6th edition. What is the date on this one? I love to read the dates on this. This is 2003. And but this is cool. This has a ton of really comprehensive stuff that you may find very interesting about everything from yogurt to sundaes to raw coconut to every kind of thing that you can kind of imagine here, and some fast food items as well. This is a pretty thick book. Paperback, and it's got some wear and tear. You may notice that these are kind of wear and tear, but that's because these are all thrift store finds. I'm too cheap and too broke to send you anything else. And if you'd like to help out with that situation, I do have a Patreon account which is linked up in the YouTube description. This is the real prize today. This is the Gadget Girl says she's interested in the gram counter. Now, don't be too hasty because you might think this is a real find too. This is Dr. Atkins' original 1972 Diet Revolution. This is the high-calorie way to stay thin forever by Dr. Robert C. Atkins, MD. And letting you know, this is the original hardback 1972 book with the dust jacket. So it's in remarkable shape for being some 46 years old. It's a great book, and by the way, when I first learned about low carb, I did learn it from Dr. Atkins' new Diet Revolution. Not this one, but many people who are die-hard keto people, they stick strictly to this book. So that is the Dr. Atkins Diet Revolution. Gadget Girl says she retracts that and she wants the 1972 book. So Gadget Girl, you're from Canada. You know what sucks about that? They don't have media mail in Canada, so I'm sorry, Gadget Girl, but you're just going to have to fly down here to Reno. It's not that much trouble, right?
Oh, Lord. Hey, I actually have a copy in my cookbook collection. You remember the South Beach diet? Yep.
Oh, wow. My mom did the South Beach diet, and one of the things that I pointed out, and I don't know if you have a light in that room or something that's possible to.
Yeah, I know it's getting dark outside.
I know it's. She lives like way east of here, and the sun. I understand they do power cycling of the sun in where she lives, so they actually, because of energy deficits and stuff, they power cycle the sun down earlier where she lives. I'm not sure. Something to do with global warming and power shortages, and California is moving everywhere.
Right, yeah. No, it's just a different time zone.
Yes, it's a time zone, yeah. There's other places on the planet. They're so weird. Anyway, so Gadget Girl, you're killing me with this Canada thing. I really want to send you this book. Anyway, so I want to be fair, and we will try and figure that out, Gadget Girl. We'll see what Canada charges me. But I don't think we have anything close to media mail going to Canada. And this is a big, heavy book, so I'm like super cheap. But if you'd like to visit the Patreon link, that would be super helpful too. The power cycling of the sun in South Dakota. But I kid around on, yeah, exactly. Is spinach keto? Spinach is about the most keto thing in the world.
It's got fiber, it's got potassium, it's delicious. Oh my goodness gracious, eat that stuff up. Go for your greens. Yes.
Yeah, if you're a fan of Dr. Berg would say that you need to eat the spinach universe in order to be doing a proper nutritional diet. My personal opinion on it, and again, I'm not a doctor. I can't give you medical advice. Everything that I say on here is merely speculation for entertainment purposes. And you guys can take that as it is. But my opinion is that fiber and its requirement in the diet, in the human diet, is majorly overrated. It's not actually something that is totally required in most people's diets, and most people that have to supplement fiber to stay regular actually have an electrolyte imbalance, and that's being covered up by the fiber. So as soon as you get rid of the fiber, they're blocked up like a brick, and you find out that it actually was all along just an electrolyte imbalance. And if you straighten out the electrolytes, they become completely regular, even if they're eating zero carbs. And many of the nutrients that we seek out in leafy green vegetables and things are actually found in quite abundance in just meat sometimes. Yes. So, and unlike eggs, for instance, eggs are like the perfectly encapsulated. They're almost like taking vitamins because of what's in them, especially if you get organic eggs. The amount of vitamin D that you get in them, the amount of bioavailable fats and proteins and enzymes that you get out of an egg is crazy ridiculous. And so for many people, you may find that a virtually zero carb diet with no leafy greens or cruciferous vegetables actually works better for some people, and some people even on like a raw diet. But spinach is totally keto if you're looking for greens.
Yeah, our bodies are all different, so keto is not going to be one specific way for everybody. We all have different needs nutritionally, physically, mentally. We all have our needs. So don't fall down into that rabbit hole where people are just saying, no, you can't have that. You can't have that. Just do it this way only. It's just not the way it is. It's just not the way it is. What if I don't like those things? And what if I have an allergy? That's something else we do in our group. We're going to address all of that and help you find your way of keto. You don't like the same colors as other people. That's the way your body is with food. So just make it your own and don't get too stressed out at somebody saying there's only one way to do it. That's just not true.
Yeah. How I discovered keto was like a crazy, silly story. I was in a cast iron cooking group, and I did the Atkins diet back in like 2002, 2003, and I was very successful, and I got down to my ideal body weight, but I was riding my bike like everywhere because I had this crazy agreement with the state of Oregon that if I didn't drive a car, I wouldn't go to jail. Anyway, it was a long story, and so I rode my bike a lot. And I went everywhere, and I was riding like 30 miles a day at least. Wow. But I stayed in great shape, and I was very successful on Atkins, where I was not successful on a low carb or a low fat diet. I was never able to get below like 210 pounds on a low fat diet, even working my butt off in the gym. But when I went low carb, immediately I broke through that 200-pound barrier, and I was stunned. I thought for sure that was never, ever going to happen. And then it just kept going. And, and I stayed low carb for a number of years. And then I married a woman who is half Indonesian, and rice is like a big part of her life. So it was just a big problem. And I'm not going to blame anybody. Okay. That's not what this is about. But some of you may know that when you have other foods in the house, it becomes infinitely more difficult. And, so I went through like a lot of ups and downs, and one day, and I got up to like 269 pounds and 285 pounds and then back down to 270 pounds. And I was in this cast iron cooking group because I collect cast iron. And I was looking at all these beautiful recipes of, cornbread and quick bread and stuff that they were cooking in cast iron. And like the stuff you can do with bread and cast iron is so cool. And I was like, I want to do that. But I said, I made this mistake. Now there's 100,000 people in this group. Okay. And I said, now I see all your beautiful pictures of your recipes of this quick bread and stuff. And I was wondering, does anybody have a recipe that's grain free? And I was like treated like a heretic. They were ready to tie me to a stake and burn me alive. They had their hot pokers and their pitchforks out, and they were hanging me upside down from a tree and ready to saw me in half. And they were just saying, "You heretic!" And they were literally like, "You heretic! You blasphemer! Get out!" And one lady, Penny Carroll, sent me a private message. I think she was scared to be burned at the cross with me. But she sent me a private message on Facebook and asked me and said, "I'm not sure what you're looking for, but this one website has some cool recipes." And she sent me to Ruled Me. And any of you who are looking for that, RULED.me, Ruled Me. And Craig over there is a major foodie, and he's a really advanced, like, chefy dude. And his recipes are killer. But you gotta be, you gotta be like, this is Master Chef here. And I'm not Master Chef. So some of you know, if you've watched my BroBryce Cooks videos, I'm like stupid simple. It's gotta be stupid simple or I'm not doing it. And there's lots of videos like where someone's like separates the eggs and stuff. And I say, well, since I'm not doing that, we're just gonna like throw the eggs in there and I make it anyway. And like when I make mayonnaise, I just like, someone said you got to separate the eggs. And I said, well, since I'm not going to do that, anyway. So, but that turned me on to the word ketogenic. And I never had seen that word before. It's not in the Atkins books. It's still not in the Atkins books. They call it the Atkins Advantage in the new Atkins books. And I just never had heard it. And then I went down this rabbit trail of Googling ketogenic. And I learned about macros and I learned about tracking. And all of a sudden, I started experiencing some success. And I said to my wife, at this point, my triglycerides were out of control. My weight was completely out of control. My inflammation was ridiculous. I was in so much pain. And I said, I have to do this. So you're going to do whatever you're going to do with your food, but I'm going to do this. And this is what I have to do. And praise the Lord, at that moment, she said, yes, I'm going to do it too. And she did. And so ever since then, it was like January 2015. And she's been with me along for the ride the whole time. And I guess she went off the wagon like for 3 months when we were in the process of moving. But outside of that, we have been together on this whole thing. So, that's how I came across keto. Was totally by accident because of a cast iron cooking blasphemy incident.
That's funny. Before I moved here to Southern Louisiana, I was living in Southern California. I like the South. But I was doing that South Beach diet and I had some success with that. But I moved here and I live in the middle of Cajun country. And this part of Louisiana is Cajun. If you get over to New Orleans, that's Creole. Cajuns are French people. The Creole, all their food is Spanish based. They're similar, but there's a big difference. Never call a Cajun or never call a Creole dish a Cajun dish. It's just totally different. But they grow and process their own rice down here. Everywhere you go, there are rice paddies. And the rice farmers, they go through their rice season. When that's done, they drain the ponds, fill them back up, and then they produce crawfish. It's the cycle of life. And so rice is in everything here. I understand that. I mean, they make just rice and gravy, and it's delicious. The food here is amazing. But oh my goodness, did I pack on the pounds. I couldn't even believe how fast it went on. And it was a couple months before I found my job. And when I had to go shopping for clothes, I lost my mind. I couldn't fit any of my clothes. I was living in sweatpants, but I still didn't stop. I still kept going. And And I'm so glad that I've been able to find this, way of eating. It's changed my life immensely. It's brought me to meet all these wonderful people like you and Dory. And, it keeps me accountable every day that I'm interacting with everybody. And it also keeps me focused and motivated because I know that people are telling me I'm helping them. Yeah. And I'm helping me too. So, yeah.
That's an important point. I know we're kind of going a little bit over here, so I do want to try to wrap this up. But you bring up a great point, and it's probably the best point to close on, and that is, and I'm gonna address also some of these things that are in the chat here real quick. But I think the best point is that like for you to say that right now, like, it holds me accountable, right? We have garnered some kind of audience, right? Like, granted, my audience is not huge, and many of the people who watch my videos aren't doing keto, but somehow we've managed to garner an audience. Now, if somehow I fall off the keto wagon, like, for me, there is no wagon, right? I'm like the little kid, like I even shaved my head. I'm like the little kid in the Matrix that says, do not try to bend the spoon. That would be stupid. There is no spoon, right? Do not fall off the wagon. Do not try not to fall off the wagon. Only remember that there is no wagon. There's no plan B. There is no spoon. And what I have to remember is that for me, if I was to like fall off, that is me saying to the rest of all the people who are here in the chat or who are over on Facebook, who I've helped to reverse diabetes, that, hey, good for you, I'm moving on. And you know what? That would be me being a completely sucky person. And I'm not trying to like judge myself or rain down judgment or try to guilt trip myself, but it does say that us, as some kind of a person who's trying to help other people, we have to hold ourselves a little bit more accountable.
Because you can't teach it if you don't live it.
Right. You can't teach it if you don't live it. I think that's a really important point to bring up. And I really appreciate you bringing that up. I have some things up here in the chat here. So we have that Gadget Girl says she's a 1977 baby. I'm 1970. So
I was born in 1965, so I'm the old lady here.
Yeah, we have the Gadget Girl 7 years later, and then Todd is born 8 years later. And then, but that Gadget Girl says, how much water do you guys drink in a day? And I'm going to address that in a second. But Todd says, well, I try to drink at least 5 or 6 glasses a day, but my kidney stones, I try for more. I can understand being raised in a Jamaican family. You're talking about the rice thing, you know, people bringing rice into the picture. We did have a phone call, but we're coming up right here at the top of the hour. We're past the top of the hour. But as for water consumption, you drink when you're thirsty. You know, we've all heard that, you know, 12 ounce glasses or 8 ounce glasses or whatever kind of mythology you've heard in that like fantasy coloring book unicorn place. It's not real. There's never been any science to say that you're supposed to drink 64 ounces of water, or you're supposed to drink an ounce of water for every pound of body mass, whatever that is supposed to be. There's never been an ounce, not one single study, not 1 ounce of science to ever say that. Now, I'm not a doctor. I'm not your nephrologist. I'm not your kidney doctor. But I will say this: my mother-in-law just came back from the nephrologist after a year and a half of being on keto. Her kidney function was at 13%. They said it would never get better because she's 70 years old. It's only going to get worse. Her kidney function is now at 65%. She's completely normal. She doesn't have to see her nephrologist anymore. So while I'm not a doctor, her kidney doctor is, and keto, just drinking water when you are thirsty, works. So. Absolutely.
Yep. I mean, I'm just one of those weird people that water has always been my drink of choice. So I probably drink more than your average bear. But definitely just drink when you're thirsty. it is important to keep yourself hydrated. You know, you can get muscle cramping and things like that if you're not properly hydrated. But yeah, don't.
Your body has natural things in it that tell you you're thirsty. So when you're thirsty, you just go ahead and listen to your thirsty meter. Your thirsty meter will just tell you, just drink some water. And your thirsty meter will say, I'm waterlogged and I shouldn't drink any more water. Now, there are some days when I drink like 1 or 2 of these a day, and that'll be all the water. You know, I'll drink like 1 cup of coffee and 1 or 2 of these in a day, and I'm totally fine. And there's other days when I drink more because I'm like deathly thirsty. Well, listen to your thirsty meter and you'll be fine. Todd says, a nurse has told me my weight now, divide it in half and drink as much. Your nurse is an idiot. Sorry. No, you know what? I'm not a doctor and I can't give you medical advice, but your nurse is an idiot and she doesn't know what she's talking about. And
I work for a doctor, by the way, so
you should talk to a doctor about like what science. Ask your nurse what science actually says that. What science? Ask her to show you the science. I've actually asked that to doctors. I've gotten in their face and said, please show me the science behind what makes a statin beneficial for someone's life. Please tell me the science. Don't try to draw me a little cartoon diagram. Show me the science that says that statins are beneficial, that shows that statins are beneficial. They'll say, well, that people... what is it? The rate of cardiac deaths due to cardiac events is dramatically reduced by a statin. I say, well, yeah, sharks also help to reduce the number of drownings. Anyway, you guys, you've been watching the BroBryceHealth YouTube channel, evidently not the Twitch channel, but you've been here with KetoKrazyKatLady, and I want you guys to go over to Instagram and follow her. And she promises from the bottom of her heart that she's going to put links on her Instagram to show you where all her other stuff is.
I'm not super tech savvy, so just bear with me.
She promises that eventually, sometime in one of our lifetimes, that it'll eventually happen. And but you guys, in the meantime, you can watch her live videos and her stuff on Facebook as well. You can look up Cat Keto on Facebook, and you will have tons of fun watching her home cooking videos and live streams.
Thank you.
And I promise you that. Anyway, we're going to close up, and I want to thank Kat for joining us. It's been an amazing time, and I'm sorry for all the technical difficulties.
Thank you so much. This is fun.
And hopefully we can do this again at another time, and hopefully I'll have a better internet, and hopefully AT&T will learn how to suck less, and we will have more fun talking about keto and less fun talking about how to fix the interwebs. And you guys, I want you to have a great rest of your weekend, and we're going to close up shop, and we will talk to you next week, 4 p.m. Pacific time. I'm not sure what time that is in your time zone, but Gadget Girl, I want you to private message me here on YouTube, and we'll figure out that whole book thing. And I will talk to you guys next week. We're going to have some more of Glenn Case's wonderful music on our outro, and y'all have a great day.
Bye, guys.